Today's video will be the behind the scenes and how it's done for the recent video that Shinku uploaded, the KDA Baddest dance. And it's a shortened one, a 2-minute version, or rather than the full 4+ minute, I believe, version of the dance itself. And before we start, let's take a look at the preview of this dance, and then we talk about some behind the scenes, some technicality, why we do certain shots, and of course a little bit of a closing and a bit of appreciation for everybody who actually contributed to this dance video itself. Without further ado, let's take a look at the preview itself, and if you want to see the full video, click on the link up there. If not, down in the description below. Now this video is actually shot in the car park itself. You can see the slow sign and the arrow, and you notice just now the first starting is the Pavotube. We use a total of 4 Pavotubes to light up this scene. 3 for the backlight and 1 for the front, which is to light up the subject itself. The Pavotubes are the Pavotube 30Cs, which are the long 1 meter one, and the shorter 50cm types, which is the 15C itself. For this video itself, a lot of shots are taken, and you can see that Shinku is actually resting for this particular behind the scene. Now, you can see in this scene itself, Edmund is actually holding. Edmund is the guy next to my left, and she's holding a small little light. That is the Litolite 5C by Nanlite also. We use it to light the subject, and the reason is because it's a very concentrated beam, very easy to control. Now, for the camera and the gimbal, I'm using the EOS R5 together with the RF 35mm f1.8 because it's a very light setup, and the DJI RS2 because it's a really nice gimbal for it. Now, we move on to the actual BTS itself, and you can see the various scenes that are being shot. Just to note, sometimes the scene and the one shown in the preview is not the exact same match because we did many clips. I mean, every single shot had at least 4 to 5 choices of clips, and we did many small clips on the way. So Shinku at least danced for like 30 minutes to actually make this whole video. Really, she spent a lot of effort. Now for this particular scene itself, where she go down, we want a very sharp look, so she had to keep kneeling a few times, and then the camera had to follow it around. Now for this scene, we wanted a zoom in when she say I'm doing damage, because she touches her face. I think the zoom in was really nice, and we decided to keep that scene itself where we zoom in both physically and digitally. So for the next part that is going to come up, notice something different. It's the opposite, and that is where we actually zoom out instead, because this is the part coming at you live, and then during that part we wanted a more zoom out look. And in that part also, we actually abuse the R5's autofocus, because as we are moving physically backwards, the R5 is really nice. It is catching up with the video itself and constantly autofocusing on the subject. So you never really have a point where you see the subject totally out of focus. Really, the R5 is phenomenal when it comes to video autofocus for such scene. So that's about it for the behind the scenes video. In totality, just to recap what I said just now, the scene was littered with 4 Pavotubes, 2 15Cs and 2 30Cs, and then 1 Litolite 5C. And the camera used was the EOS R5 together with the RF 35mm f1.8, and the DJI RS2 is the gimbal itself. I'd like to thank everybody that helped in this video, which is people like Steven, Hayami, and of course Edmund. They helped me behind the scene in the video itself. You just don't see them. Edmund is obviously constantly in the frame itself, but I have to thank them for helping me set up this video itself. And all the equipments were really heavy. I mean, we have a truckload of equipment that we have to move around to just bring it to the car park to do this short little video shoot. Even though this is a 2-minute video shoot, it took us somewhere around, I think, if I'm not wrong, nearly 2 hours to shoot finish. Partially because we had to set up everything, and then also the R5 overheated a few times. We had to stop the production just a while to let the R5 recover. The reason why the R5 overheat is because we were shooting at 60 frames per second. I did notice that shooting dance video 60 frames per second was a lot better. It made the whole dance video, I would say, as more clean, where each movement doesn't seem blur. You need a certain amount of sharpness with each individual frame. It looks more natural for a fast moving dance video. Now for the shutter speed itself, I would say as I set it to 100, slightly lesser than the 180 degrees shutter that normally people recommend. I did notice that a bit of fluidity, a little bit of motion makes the whole video smoother and nicer to watch for a dance video itself. But 60 frames per second was the better choice compared to, let's say, 25 or 24 frames per second. I noticed that those frames per second, if you do it The dance just look a bit weird at times. It looks very, very blur, especially when the subject is moving really quickly, which is very common in such a dance video. And that's about it for today. I hope you enjoyed this short BTS and explanation. If you have any questions on this, put down in the comments below. If not, I will see you next time when I create another video, another BTS. Until then, bye-bye.